Yeah, basically the world of sports with emphasis on football and the English Premier League. Yesterday was a big one. With me here today to discuss all of that and a bit more is Miyen Akiri. Miyen, it's good to have you. You're welcome.
Good to be here once again. Indeed, the top four race is indeed hotting up, cracking the wall. But then let's see what will be representing, the Premier League in the UEFA Champions League.
In the UEFA Champions League. That's the most important thing, of course.
Liverpool are champions.
Yes.
In Spain, a two-horse race. A point difference. Real could go top.
One game in hand. One game in hand. They will go. They will definitely. Okay, so but yesterday there's Manchester United were up against Aston Villa.
That's it.
VAR is something that this is the first season when it is fully adopted across Europe, and it was at the eye. It was a center of attraction yesterday. There was a lot of controversy concerning that Manchester United first goal. Bruno Fernandes is kind of showing himself as a player who goes too easily to the ground. It's becoming too. It's happening too much. But yesterday, against Aston Villa, you saw that penalty. We'll get to see the highlights now. Was that a penalty?
Absolutely not. But then, give it to United. Bruno Fernandes is a very intelligent player. A very good buy he's proven to be. And the likes of Mason Greenwood, Rashford, Anthony Martial are showing that they can rival Liverpool's attack next season, led by Firmino, Mane, and indeed
okay,
Salah.
but one thing now, 79 penalties have been given in the EPL. 16.5% have been to Mane, which is 13 of that there. Look, isn't this? You remember under Ferguson? Yes, you remember the era of Sir Alex Ferguson. Yes, they're better than. Yes, they could probably win even without all that help. But considering what VAR was set up there to do, VAR was set up to be a more objective call, or a more objective to help the referees. We've seen, I can remember a match in Australia where...
But it should be a robot-like.
The referee was chatting and his voice was made available to the PA, to the public speakers. We're hearing the VAR gave his own assessment. He went there to the screen, saw it, and they had a discussion, said, no, you gave a yellow card, but I think you should upgrade it to a red card. I said, okay, yes, this foul was very bad. Let me go and upgrade it. And then he goes VAR and gives the man a red card. My point is, England, the match against, I think it was Sheffield United also, where we saw the referee go, it was like it was unusual to go check out the VAR. The referee should have done this. I know VAR has come to stay, but what does this say about EPL referees?
Well, a lot of questions, to be asked about how, they communicate between the referee on the field of play and indeed those in various places who indeed make the final decision and act as VAR. How one will go with Mourinho. There is another centre referee somewhere who indeed is the main referee at this point in time. Because if that was a machine, if that was indeed a robot or whatsoever they call it, that call should have been accurate. From what we saw, it was indeed a nightmare.
It was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare.
You mentioned Mourinho. Now let's talk about it. Yesterday also, Everton, of course, went up against Southampton, and Jose Mourinho
Bournemouth
against Bournemouth, a match that you would normally not think. For the first time in how many years, Mourinho's team did not have a shot on target. It was it was a terrible match to watch. It was a terrible match to watch. This is a Tottenham. It was the full squad.
That's it.
Everybody was available onto them. They could not muster even a shot on target in 90.
In fact,
100 minutes.
VAR had to cancel Bournemouth's 98 minutes goal. They would have indeed gotten the day.
What is happening? Has Mourinho actually lost? Because that's the discussion that's going.
I wouldn't say it is Mourinho at this point in time, but the truth is, at this stage of the season, this is where the big teams, come out to indeed show what they are made of. You should know the consequences of dropping points at this stage. And it's alarming to indeed realize that the Tottenham side, who were indeed challenging teams last season, 2 seasons ago, playing the finals of the UEFA Champions League under Mauricio Pochettino, and indeed lying night at this point in time. In fact, the two London sides, Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur, occupy the 8th and 9th position, which speaks volume about what other teams are doing at this point in time. Yes, Chelsea and all others who are also based in London may not be playing very well, but they are grinding out the results, which is very, very important. You may not play well, but the most important thing is
he's not playing well. He's not getting the results.
And that's what we know Mourinho for.
Getting the results, right?
Getting the results.
But he's not getting the
alarming.
results.
It's shocking, that they don't rise to the occasion.
I was watching this match. You see a Lamela. Ndombele was pure crap yesterday. You see Lamela taking a run to the ball. You could see him either go for a shot or go for a pass, and then he takes a sideways pass. A sideways pass goes to Sergio Aurier, and Aurier is trying to cross the ball in. I don't understand. Dombele making silly decisions. You have even Son coming in. What are these guys on their own?
Mike,
they should be able to break down the ball.
We know Jose has had issues with a few of the players this season. But it also shows that at some point in time, when your players are playing for you, you will know. If players are playing for the manager, you will know. If players are not playing for the managers, you will know. The best way to get a manager kicked out of a team is when the players are not playing for him. So Mourinho needs to do so. We've seen situations whereby a few players are falling out with Jose Mourinho.
Definitely.
And also there's a problem if Harry Kane is not firing on all cylinders. If he's not scoring, there's a problem with Tottenham Hotspur.
He's not getting the ball.
This is what has happened to teams years back. While Liverpool failed in the last 30 years, Liverpool built their team around individual players. At some point in time, it was a Steven Gerrard. At some point in time, it was a Luis Suarez. And it didn't work.
So, but
now you have a Jurgen
system.
Klopp who has a team. There is a system at this point in time. You have
a player,
you have Firmino and all that. So that's what a Mourinho needs at this point in time. Can he get it at Tottenham Hotspur? Will they splash out the cash? Everywhere he's been, he's gotten the cash to get his signings. Will he get it at Tottenham Hotspur? He would have to deal with it and get the results.
My point is that there are times when you don't get the cash, but look, they have quality. That team should be in the top 4 or maybe top 5. They do have the quality, and they should be competing. I mean, when you see a team like that playing bereft of ideas and all of that, they don't have a single shot of target in over 100 minutes. It's very, very funny. But we're still here. We'll just take this short break now. When we get back, of course, we're going to look at the table and see what we can, if we can take one or two things around Europe. Let's just take a short break. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, just before the break, we're talking about the travels of Jose Mourinho in Tottenham in 9th place. Of course, I'm here with Miyen. But let's take a look at the table. Let's take a look at the top 5 now. Leicester, we'll see the table right now. Leicester, of course, are crowned. They're already Liverpool
position.
Yeah, Liverpool
crowned
are
champions.
already champions with 92 points.
That's it.
They have 12 more points to fight for, so they can probably go to a maximum of 104.
That's it.
But they need 3 wins to beat Manchester City's whole record of 100 points. But looking further down, you have Manchester City, 69 points. Now, this is damning. 23 points behind Liverpool. My God. Chelsea at 60. So let's say the first 2 slots are virtually confirmed. They are going to be there 1 and 2. Chelsea is in 3rd place.
2 not yet confirmed automatically. Yeah, it should be an automatic spot for City, but they've got an appeal against UEFA. Should that see the light of day? Should it go in their favour? Good for them.
Good for them.
If it doesn't, then that means the
5th spot.
The 5th
definitely
spot automatically goes to the UEFA Champions League.
But Chelsea 60, Leicester 59, and Manchester United after yesterday's match 58. 1 point in between. How do you think this is going to play out? Which of these 3 teams do you think, or which of these teams do you think will make the final 4?
I see Manchester United overtaking Leicester City. Leicester have not been impressive since Project Restart, came alive. And that's what you must indeed look out for. For Manchester United, they've been awesome. Even away from home, in 17 games they've not lost, and that's what you expect, from a team who indeed wants to play in Europe.
Can we boil that down? Can we bring it down to Bruno Fernandes? Has he been the agent of change? Has he been the person that has changed the fortunes of Manchester United?
Bruno has been the missing link in Manchester United. Ever since he came, you could see how things, turned around.
And it seems like Pogba might want to stay now.
Pogba is willing to extend his contract because those are the kind of things Pogba wanted. Everyone wants to be a champion. At the end of the season, when you're on holiday with your family, your friends, teammates, what they remember is which trophy or what, and that's what Pogba wants. He's a big player. He's seen it all. He's played with Juventus and a whole lot of big players. Real still wants him, but if United are churning out the results, if they are winning matches convincingly, then he would want to stay and extend his contract and see if he can win trophies.
Okay, let's good, wonderful. Let's just round up with Europe. Italy, what do you think is going to happen there? Juventus, of course, are far ahead. Inter Milan, Lazio, they've dropped. AC Milan looks like a club on the rise. They look like the Manchester United of Italy. They have beaten Lazio. They have beaten Juventus, which was quite a shocker. They'll be going up against Napoli this weekend and all of that. What do you think? What do you think about AC Milan?
That's a cracker. I like the the resurgence in AC Milan. That's what you've always known for the team from San Siro, which is indeed very, very massive. But the other team from San Siro, Inter Milan,
terrible.
They've been terrible, they've been awful, disgraceful, whichever way you want to call it. It's totally unacceptable.
Totally.
In the first 2 minutes last night, Inter were a goal down. In the 85th minute, Inter were 2-1 up. But before the referee would blow the final whistle, Verona are back on level terms. It ended 2-2. It's totally unacceptable. It shows they lack character. It shows they don't know what they want, which is indeed sad. Inter is a big team.
Antonio
and you don't
Conte,
accept
what's
that from such a manager or from the player.
2-1 up at
Verona,
80 minutes.
85th minute, they were still leading. In the first 2 minutes, you've considered a goal. It's unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
Now,
I like that.
Juventus indeed, they didn't do well last weekend. It was a shocker. They were leading AC Milan, in their last game, 2 goals up. But before you could say Jack Robinson,
He was
Milan
3-2.
were back, which is indeed good for Milan. And let's see how things will
5 minutes, 3-goal blitz in 5 minutes. Okay,
so
so let's also touch back in Spain. Of course, Real Madrid are 1 point ahead, although they still have one game in hand. They are going to go up
against Alaves tonight.
Against Alaves, which we should definitely give them the match.
It should be a win.
They have the best defense in Europe.
It should be a win for Real Madrid. Looking at this Real side, the goalkeeper has been awesome. His first season in Spain, was a bit shaking, but he's gotten that confidence back. This is what you need when you win games. Projects will start, so to say, or since La Liga restarted, Real haven't lost. And that's the form they've seen themselves at this point in time. The last 3 years, Barca have dominated the league in Spain. Now Zidane is trying to get, the compliments he needs to win the trophy, from Barcelona. It's going to be a fight to finish. I don't think
so. It won't be a fight to finish.
I think it will be a fight to finish.
Because we know how it plays out in Spain.
Yes.
One team gets above that cross, they get to a point, and look, it just goes that way. It's
you've got about 3 games. You've got about 3 games to go. Real shouldn't sleep with their 2 eyes closed.
Well,
Barca played against Espanyol for the first time in 26 years. Espanyol have gone down to relegation, and that has always been the Catalonia derby.
Yes.
Which means next season, fans
it's not
across
going
the
to
globe
happen.
Shouldn't watch out for the Catalonia
except
derby.
maybe in the Copa
del Rey.
Yeah, that's where the only place it might happen. Okay, but let's touch on Barcelona's troubles. Yes. Barcelona have had an issue when it comes to transfers for forever. You understand? Now we're hearing talks about them being unable to. Of course, we knew that they were not going to beat for Lautaro Martinez. They were not going to hit that buyout clause. We know that PSG has stated that if they can stomp up at least 170 million, they can take Neymar. We know that is not going to happen.
Realistic.
Well, I mean, that's unrealistic.
Sadly for Barcelona, PSG is a big club. PSG is not a selling club.
They don't need the money.
You can't push them aside. This is a club who wants to win the UEFA Champions League. They can get any player in world football. If they can churn out that kind of money for Neymar, I don't think any team in Europe will bully them. Not even Real Madrid, who are always willing to splash the cash on anyone. And that's what Paris Saint-Germain are saying at this point in time. But the sad thing for Kike Setien is the fact that he should know that it's a tradition in Barcelona. What you are employed for is get the job done, win titles, win the league, beat Real Madrid, play beautiful football. If you don't get all these qualities, then you are in trouble, especially when you fall out with your captain. And it is sad for Lionel Messi. See, when you fall out with Lionel Messi, when you don't get the result, the players gang up against you and say, hey, the manager isn't good enough. We've seen that with Valverde and a host of other managers. If results don't go Barca's way, then the coach is the scapegoat. Yes, that's the way it's been across the globe. But it's becoming, so much,
with Barcelona.
With Barcelona.
Griezmann. Now, there has been talk. We always knew that Griezmann was not a natural fit for the Barcelona style, for the tiki-taka and all that. We always knew. So we thought that deciding to get Griezmann, maybe they had a different plan, but it is the same it's just the same thing that happened with Arthur. This is the same thing that happened with Malcolm. It's the same thing that happened with Coutinho. It's something that's played over and over again. Griezmann is now looking like, this is a player who was at one point second in the Ballon d'Or rankings and all of that. This is a player who had won the World Cup and was an instrumental part of the French squad that won the World Cup. Griezmann is now made to look like the person who's shouldering...
Mike, the truth is this. Griezmann is a fish in a big pond at this point in time. A small fish,
or a big one?
A small fish in a big pond.
I might differ on that one.
Atletico Madrid, see, it was a big fish in a small pond. See, this is it. No player comes to Barcelona and outshines Lionel Messi. In fact, before you are signed, the club must consult Messi before you brought him. See, that's what Messi commands, at Barcelona.
Yes,
Football Club.
and that's by the way.
Sadly, when it was meant to come to Barcelona the first time, he rejected it.
He messed it
up, came out with a word press conference and said, see, I'm in the level of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. That really upsets the Barcelona hierarchy. They feel if we're coming to you, we should get you.
But they still got him. So
they still got him at the end of the day. But see, the rift between Messi and Griezmann isn't settled fully.
Okay.
And you can't say...
Wonderful.
That was what Neymar tried doing. Neymar wanted to step away from the shadows of Messi.
To try
but
and
he feels,
see.
hey, the best thing to also do is, I love this club, I want to win trophies, I want to play with him. He wants to come back. But you must understand that you can't outshine Lionel Messi at Barcelona.
Oh,
he represents everything about the club.
Sometimes we make decisions that we regret, of course, and we want to come back. That's all. I wish we had more time, but Miyen, it's always great discussing, talking sports with you.
Likewise.
The Champions League draw, of course, what happened today. We'll talk about that next week.
Huge
and
one.
all of that, huge one. It's going to be a tournament. One leg kickoffs, of course, after the other second round matches that will be played. Thank you very much, Miyen.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. It was great having you. Okay, so I hope you'll get up for this weekend and the games that are going to come up. But we have to head over now. It's not just our kitchen now. This is Indomie kitchen. They've taken over the kitchen.